A's in Blue position previews right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. All right, everyone, we're talking Michigan football. We got James Yoder on the line from Chat Sports. You can join him at his James Yoder's Michigan Football Report. James, how you doing today?
Doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me. Glad to be back on. Really appreciate it. Football is under 100 days to get started, huh?
Absolutely. And let's get started. I want to remind everyone that you can help us build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below and just do your Amazon shopping using that link. We're talking Michigan and getting you set for August camp. Let's start at the quarterback position, where, of course, it's all about Shay Patterson having produced, James, as you well know, the most productive QBR for Michigan quarterback going back to 2000, and one Drew Henson, who was one of the most talented guys I've ever seen at the position in college football. I think this slice of the conversation has more to do with the offense than it has to do with Shea Patterson and what Josh Gaddis is going to bring to the table and what we saw during the spring game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Shea Patterson has some competition, of course. You've got Joe Milton, you've got Dylan McCaffrey, give him a run for his money. But I think the job is his as long as, there's nothing drastic that changes over the summer. Now, last year he had, 22 touchdowns, 2,600 yards. But I think the biggest thing that was left on the table is that and I was disappointed to see how at Ole Miss now with two big-time wide receivers, guys that got drafted in the NFL, he was a great deep ball thrower that really didn't show up on the field at Michigan. So I'm not sure if they just put him in bad positions, but the thing that I'm looking forward to this year from the quarterback position is routes from the wide receivers that don't make it look like it is like pulling your fingernail off right down to the down to the skin, like that excruciating of pain, just to complete like a 6-yard pass. Like it seemed like every time Michigan completed a pass last year in a tight window, even like in a 7-yard route to the line, like guys would be able to make circus catches. And so I think that's what Michigan fans are hoping with Josh Gaddis, is that what we saw in the spring game is you get creative routes that spreads the field like a modern college football offense is running that Michigan just frankly has never run.
James, you mentioned the 7 interceptions thrown by Patterson in 2018. 4 of those came against the 3 best opponents, Notre Dame, Florida, and Ohio State. In reviewing those mistakes, were they mistakes? Were that more just a byproduct of pressure and better defensive play?
Certainly better defensive play, right, when you have the better opponents. But the Michigan offensive game plan, I think just team mindset against Florida was a complete failure. It was frankly one of the most embarrassing games I've watched or been subject to as a fan, let alone someone who covers the team, et cetera. So I'm not sure what the mindset was coming out of the Ohio State game, if they were just let down. But a couple of those interceptions were, I'd say, maybe wide receiver interceptions, specifically in Notre Dame. There's a couple plays that wide receivers just straight up didn't make plays for the ball, and a 5'10" corner got the jump on a bigger player. But in general, good season overall. Certainly reduced the amount of interceptions we saw from Michigan in 2017 when they were rotating quarterbacks in and out. And with that few of interceptions, I'd say Shea was pretty efficient with the ball. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. Didn't make that many throws. But college football has changed. If you go back 15 years and you said you got a quarterback with 25, 30 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, that was considered great. But now you see guys with 38, 35, 32 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So the ratio has changed 2-to-1, or we used to be really good. 3-to-1 was great. Now you're seeing guys with like 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. So he's got to get the touchdowns and the yards up quite a bit.
And James, even though there's not a whole lot of question, as you mentioned off the top, of who is Michigan's starting quarterback, certainly a load of talent behind him. Everyone's been anticipating the emergence of Dylan McCaffrey. That's going to have to wait for one more year. 5th-rated pro-style quarterback, according to 247 Sports, who got on the field enough to throw a couple touchdowns last year. And now this kid, the redshirt freshman Joe Milton, as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are calling for Dylan McCaffrey to be the starter because the backup quarterback is always the most popular guy in the room, right? So McCaffrey looked good running the ball last year. He looked pretty good running the ball in the spring game, the limited footage that we saw, and he's got the family history. Very few people know this. Maybe some Michigan fans do, but his his grandfather and his mother's side once had the world record in the mile run, under sub 4-minute mile. His dad, Ed McCaffrey, his brother is an NFL superstar. So I think the intrigue of him as a dual threat quarterback is out there. And I think you're going to see him play more than he did last year, and he got some decent snaps last year. But I think just Shea Patterson's familiarity with this kind of an offense from high school to 2 years old Ole Miss gives him the leg up. Plus, if you look at their starts, it's something like Shea Patterson, 22 games starting, 23 games starting as a quarterback, and Dylan McCaffrey probably hasn't even taken that many snaps as a quarterback in college. So I think Michigan's going to go with what got him here in some way, but the last two national championships have replaced their quarterbacks either in the title game or mid-season with guys who had taken them to the playoffs the year before, Jalen Hurts, Kelly Bryant at Clemson, with true freshmen that won a national title. So this seniority era of college football has kind of gone by the wayside. I mean, basically, freshman and sophomore are dominating when it comes to the quarterback play. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities to see Shea Patterson lose his job if he doesn't play up to snuff in the first half of the year.
Absolutely, James. So we get James Yoder on the line from Chat Sports. Please join him at his James Yoder's Michigan Football Report. One other thought on Shea Patterson before we move on is that I guess one line of thinking would be there might be another regression in regards to the number of offensive coordinators he has had to deal with each and every year, not just in college, but going back to high school. This is like a sixth consecutive year with a new offensive coordinator. On the other hand, it seems to be a style of play that he favors, and not just him, but all the players recruited around him played this kind of style of football, meaning 4 and 5 wide receiver sets, up tempo, spread it out, and no tight ends or one tight end rather than what they've been playing. So the comfort level may go up considerably.
Yeah, one of the things that made me nervous about Shea Patterson coming to Michigan in the first place was just the vagabond lifestyle that he's lived. You talk about, Ole Miss 2 years, Michigan, and then you go back 1 year at IMG Academy, a couple different high schools, Toledo, Ohio for 7th grade, 8th grade. So he's had, going back to like 6th grade, I know it's a long time, 9 years. He's had like 8 different offensive coordinators he's worked with, so never got really into a system. But the ones that he's thrived in are the ones where he gets to be in shotgun and have 4 or 5 different options to throw the ball to, under center or in a shotgun set with a running back where he's handing up ball off half the time. Just does not seem to be something he was comfortable in last year. So I think we're going to see more interceptions from him this year, because I think he's going to throw the ball about 10 to 12 times more than he did last year when he was only getting 22 to 26 passing attempts per game. I wouldn't be surprised, and this isn't crazy for Clemson or Alabama or Ohio State, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 35 passes a game for Michigan this year. So you should see Shea's numbers go up significantly. The biggest fear with the offense, though, Mark, is will Jim Harbaugh just step away and let a guy like Josh Gaddis take control? I talked to a member of the Alabama media in the past week. I asked him about Josh Gaddis, and I was expecting something just, fairly bland, but like this guy was mad. He's like, that guy's a snake, because we loved him. We thought he was going to be the next man. Like, all the recruits loved him, wide receivers, his route trees. It looked like a whole new thing, and everyone gave him credit for the emergence of the passing game last year at Alabama. And, they thought that he kind of snaked his way out of there by just leaving in the middle of the night. So if Michigan puts Shea in a position to have guys wide, not wide open, but you look at Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama, when their receivers catch balls downfield, a lot of times they've got 4 yards of green in front of them or behind them. Never seems to happen with Michigan under Jim Harbaugh.